Hey guys, Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds. I'm Ted, hanging out with my esteemed colleagues.
Dave.
Ryan.
And today we're starting a new series called Monster BFFs. You want to get into the whole...
I forget who I had the conversation with, but we were talking about different ideas for videos or something. Or they said something, I'm like, oh my god, that's a great idea for a video series, and I think I'll call Monsters BFFs. So the idea is to take interesting monster combinations and put them together. So right now, I'm opened up to page 195 in the Monster Manual, Kobolds.
All right, well, I'll see your page 195 in the Monster Manual and raise you a page 248 of the Monster Manual. And we'll have a lot of variance in what people are going to call this. We'll go with the Otyugh.
Otyugh.
I pronounce it Otyugh.
Otyugh, whatever.
Otyugh, however you like to pronounce it.
I've seen on the thread it pronounced like 4 or 5 different ways. Just,
Yeah.
So however you pronounce Otyugh and Kobold,
I'm sure you'll let us know whether we want to know or not.
Right, absolutely.
These guys make an awesome pairing. Just because you've got the kobolds who, are scavenger stealers of, whatever little bit of information or things, and the Otyugh, who's the trash monster.
They are like the garbage man of the fantastical realms.
Should we mention the very first appearance of an Otyugh ever?
Go for it.
All right, man. A New Hope, Star Wars.
That's right.
That was an
Trash
Otyugh.
factory. Absolutely.
What is it? Do you know that monster's name from Star Wars?
Dianoga.
I knew you would.
Yeah.
So the Otyugh is totally ripped from that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dianoga from Star Wars
Equals Otyugh.
Yeah.
You put in the comments below whether you agree or disagree.
And you could also do like an advanced version and make the trash heap from Fraggle Rock. Like, that would be pretty fantastic too.
So do we need kobolds and stormtrooper outfits?
Maybe.
Oh, that would be badass.
That would be pretty hilarious.
That would be adorable.
and adorable. Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
And they still wouldn't be able to hit anything.
All right, so why are the kobolds and the Otyughs BFFs?
Okay, well, the funny thing about the Otyugh is they will be actually anybody's BFFs.
They adopt a community, so that's a part of it. Like,
they're kind of whorish of the monster realm. I mean, if you throw them trash, they will love you for life.
And call you George. Well, basically, if you don't try to... I imagine to engage them, like, if you give them a steady stream of trash and don't try to, like, hurt it. Those are the
by
main
trash, what
contributors.
do we really mean? What do they really want? They want,
Poop. Refuse.
Yeah, pretty much. Poop.
Rubbish,
Well, and carcasses, too, because they probably eat that.
Now the great part about the Otyugh is, it's always just, done as a beast, non-thinking, but it actually has a 6 intelligence listed. So it is definitely at that level that it can be trained or even, communicated with.
Well, it's got its own language. Also has the telepathic ability to express,
broadcast. It can broadcast
its desires to other people in their language. It can't receive communication back.
This is what I want. No. You don't understand. I want this. Yeah.
Which I find is kind of hysterical. I've used them all the time, and you guys have been in my games long enough to know if you come into a pile of trash, there's 2 things in there:
there's treasure
and an Otyugh.
Always. You cannot separate the two.
So yeah, you have to every once in a while totally make them dig through the trash. They find nothing, and there's no Otyugh, just so that they're suspect the next time.
No, there's nothing there, and there's no Otyugh.
Yeah. Well, they're always going.
No. Aside from the Otyugh,
will go through anything to look for treasure. Anything.
Yeah, and aside from the Otyugh, there's another Otyugh instead of treasure.
It's a treasure chest full of an Otyugh.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh
No. Forget the kobolds, the Otyugh, and the mimic.
Yeah.
The treasure chest is a mimic.
Right. Yeah. Nice.
No, so the scenario that I run a lot of times is you'll come into a chamber or a cavern that'll have a ledge running around it with small tunnels to either the sides. Mm-hmm. Perhaps the Otyugh came in when it was small. It was brought here when it was young, or maybe one of the tunnels that it would have used to gain access has been collapsed.
Right.
And it was kind of herded in here by the kobolds, and it can't leave because it's too big.
And also, too, on a side note, like kobolds, like that's in their write-up that they use natural things to their advantage, like centipedes and the Otyugh.
So the way I've used it is, it's like you have to traverse this area, and because it has this awareness, it's probably going to go kobold. Oh, not kobold, lunch. You know what I mean? And they always kind of attack from surprise because they're at the bottom of a trash heap, and they have this really weird physiology where their sensory organs are on a stalk.
Right.
Very much like
beholders.
Well, I was going to say the trash monster from Star Wars, but like beholders too. So they can do the alligator thing where, they can just have just enough surface to be aware of what's going on without being visible.
Right.
And again, they're trained to leave the kobolds alone because the kobolds bring the food.
Right.
But everything else, this is like in our derb, or this is this is gourmet here. Human and dwarf, we don't get that every day.
No, that's some high class stuff right there.
And if the Otyugh is making a lot of noise, there's a possibility the kobold sentries are going to come check it out. And then an Otyugh, which is a CR5 monster, it's not a pushover. It's not
a lot of ranged attacks from kobolds.
And ranged attacks from kobolds. Yeah, and it's again if you're using the swing.
Well, you could have them higher up, and you could have a powerful Otyugh that the some of the PCCs trying with the kobolds, like the kobolds could totally be like spring, fire back up into the tunnel, so the PCs can't see them, so they got to go up and deal.
Oh, what if you did something weird like it's an ancient Otyugh of the kobold lair, and like they worship it.
Oh, you can do that.
Like it's been there for generations.
Yeah. You could have these degenerate sort of kobolds too. They're all dirty and scraggly. Like they're low on the totem pole for kobolds. But like,
oh my god.
Yeah, like you could even have one that's like have the kobold that's war locations, but do like the outsidery one.
Yeah.
He thinks he gets his power from this. Because like a great old one, tentacles, this and that, like getting it from somewhere else in the far realm. But like he attributes it to this ancient thing. Otyugh.
Yeah, it'd be cool if there was a line of them that basically take the pact.
Yeah.
And from generation to generation. I don't even know if it has to be like a degenerate, but maybe they're bandits and they're capturing people to feed to the Otyugh because it's their god.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
A giant.
I mean, there isn't. 5th edition doesn't have the rules for advancing monsters like in previous editions, but
we can make it work.
You can figure it out.
Yeah.
So while we got the monster manual open. We talked about in a previous video about the artwork. What do you think about the artwork for the Otyugh?
I like the Otyugh artwork. This one's spot on. It's
like in previous editions, I've always looked at it. There's been a central man, 4 legs and 3 tentacles. Like I never envisioned this cavernous maw that's got this thing here. This thing looks so much scarier than it's done in previous editions.
Yeah, it's doing more damage than the greatsword. Like it's a 2d8, so it should have like a fearsome maul like coming.
Yeah, you look at all those teeth, and it's like, man, yeah, I don't want to face that thing.
The damage is pretty indicative of like what this thing is going to do to you. And then on top, let me talk about my absolute favorite aspect of it. So it's got tentacles, but it's also.
Oh my God, no! Where are you gonna go, Ryan?
Let's talk about this. No, so it's got the tentacle slam, which the idea is if it's got one of the party.
I've seen that. Oh, never mind.
So, if it's got one person grappled, it's just going to slam them on the hardest surface it can find within range. If it's got 2 people grappled, it's going to clap them together. Like it's his
clap on, clap off.
That is the funniest thing ever. Like once a player has that done to them, dude, they're gonna remember that.
I would write that in my notes, and that's when the kobolds use that. That is their signal to come attack.
Yeah, that's nice. So that is hysterical to me.
You need two fighter, a fighter or a cleric in heavy armor.
Bang!
It's like a chime.
It's a chime bell. Yeah.
Maybe your Otyugh has aspirations of being a bard.
Maybe
he's playing the cymbals.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Now, it being a CR5 and just having like some kobolds, like first off, like I feel like a lower level dungeon. This should just be a thing that's off to the side that like the kobolds aren't going to be triggered from.
Yeah, this is a high level encounter.
Because when you start adding the kobolds to it, it becomes like easily a 6th level encounter,
or a lot higher.
Well, it depends. Like the PCs have some resources. If they're fresh, this is still going to be in the deadly range. But man, you could still make this viable at higher levels. You have a pit trap. I was talking to Dave about this earlier. You have a pit trap, right? The PCs fall. On the underside of this pit trap is like basically a bunch of bells and stuff. So like as soon as it falls, like kobolds are going to hear it.
Yeah,
like it
some
makes
kind of alarm.
Makes a crap ton of noise. Falls.
Or better yet, what if it's an alarm system where it's attached to like ropes or whatever and rings bells somewhere else, so that like the PCs don't even know that they've been alerted.
I almost like the sense of looming dread. Like, this is
I
making a
agree.
ton of noise. Like you almost want to like make your players like, what's going to happen? And then it's a spiked pit trap. They fall on the spikes. This room is also the refuse room, where the Otyugh is now starting to drift over to the PC that's impaled on spikes.
Right.
They've been injured in a room of filth, so you're going to be checking for filth fever.
So we have to go into the DMG to the disease section.
Oh, absolutely.
Different video.
Yeah, right. So we have to go and give them a disease. Now the players above like have to figure out what they're going to do. They're probably going to come down and help their party member because the Otyugh is closing with him. And then, you could
try to pull them out.
Or trying to pull him out.
Tug of war with the PC.
Yeah, right. Tentacles the PC trying to get out. And then you have like the ledge in this refuse room for where all the kobolds are going to sling down the PCs if they come down, or if they do the wiser course and not come down into the room, then it's the Otyugh and the players.
Lone adventurer.
And the lone adventurer, well, tug of warring
Right.
on that. So yeah, that's gonna go pretty nasty. Like that's a pretty high level encounter because the amount of sort of tactical disadvantage the party's going to have. And any injuries they're taking when they go down into that room, absolutely checking for filth fever. Or are they even calling it that anymore?
There is like a filth fever or sewer plague or something.
And there's a difference between the disease that would correspond to filth fever
and this does a different thing.
Otyugh does.
Yeah, different effect.
Yeah, just being bitten by the Otyugh has its own special thing for you.
Nice special
like
bit of nasty. So
does that cover our first foray into BFFs?
Monster BFFs.
Kobolds and
Otyughs and kobolds forever.
They love one another. They sing songs.
So you can put in the comments below about whether you use these, whether you have any cool stories about you using or having them being used against you while you're commenting. Feel free to hit like, share, even subscribe.
You can go hang out with us on Facebook at Nerdarchy.
Or go to nerdarchy.com and just remember that monster friendship is magical.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.
Hey guys, Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds. I'm Ted, hanging out with my esteemed colleagues.
Dave. Ryan.
And today we're starting a new series called Monster BFFs. You want to get into the whole...
I forget who I had the conversation with, but we were talking about different ways. Just,
Yeah.
So however you pronounce Otyugh and Kobold,
I'm sure you'll let us know whether we want to know or not.
Right, absolutely.
These guys make an awesome pairing. Just because you've got the kobolds who, are scavengers, stealers of, whatever little bit of information.
Ideas for videos or something, or they said something, I'm like, oh my god, that's a great idea for a video series, and I think I'll call Monsters BFFs. So the idea is to take interesting monster combinations and put them together. So right now I'm opened up to page 195 in the Monster Manual, Kobolds.
All right, well, I'll see your page 195 in the Monster Manual and raise you a page 248 of the Monster Manual. And we'll have a lot of variants in what people are going to call this. We'll go with the Otyugh.
Otyugh.
I pronounce it Otyugh.
Otyugh, whatever.
Otyugh, however you like to pronounce it.
I've seen on a thread it pronounced like 4 or 5 different